Hello ladies and gents, it is SpoonyPizzas here with a Master League Remastered review. So, the big topic when we're at E3 and Gamescom was the fact that Pro Evolution Soccer 2020 was remastering the Master League with cutscenes, better transfers, better transfer fees, more realistic transfers, and basically, let's be honest here, the cutscenes at the start of the game are like really frequent, and then probably about, I don't know, a quarter away into the season, the cutscenes die off and they cut in maybe 2 other times until the end of the season. It's really, really strange. It looks like it's really going to take off. You have lots of interaction with the media. You've got your coaches saying, "Oh, you need to be playing this player to, get some experience." And I thought, "Oh, this is all right." But it quickly became apparent that none of these choices that I was making had any impact on the game, the players, the board. No impact whatsoever. And some of the questions and answers just didn't relate to anything. I mean, look at this question here. Do finals between domestic rivals lack excitement? We'll take the game to them. Chances will be at a premium. It might go to penalties. It's like that question and answer don't even link up. It's madness. Absolute madness. And to be honest, I could choose any one of those and it has no impact whatsoever. The only one that does impact your season is when you have the sort of setting your goals at the very start of the season, and they say, where do you think you're going to finish? And with Manchester United, you could say, I'm going to finish top half of the table, and they'd be like, oh yeah, great. And I'm like, what? Surely the manager has to have more ambition than top 10. They should be like, well, that for a starter they should disagree, and then straight off the bat you've lost some affinity with the board, so you're already under threat right from the get-go. There should be realistic targets and sort of expectations, top 4, maybe top 6, not top half of the table, And then sometimes the cutscenes would be too quick. You wouldn't be able to read all the writing. Sometimes it would drag on. You're like, oh, am I waiting to see something else? No, these players are just shaking hands and there's literally no feedback as to what's going on here. You're not getting any sort of reads or tells. We just signed Bruno Fernandes here, and this is the sort of intro you're going to see. And that's it. It's just like, wow, is that it? Come on. And this is what I was talking about with the season objectives, setting goals. So you can literally just put what you want here, more or less, and they'll more or less agree to it. But yeah, so the cutscenes and the Master League in general is, well, basically my greatest fear when people were requesting more cutscenes came true, and that's the fact that there's cutscenes, but there's no. It's just so shallow. It's just got the depth of a puddle. There's any choice you make has literally no impact on the season. The cutscenes are a waste of time, in my opinion. I'd rather be able to just turn them off and play a Master League how I used to play a Master League. Here you can see Diego Dalot waiting in the wings for a chance to play. So you get your coaches coming towards you. There was actually a cutscene for that I've skipped. And, it's hard to put into words, really. You should have these cutscenes should actually mean something. You should be able to go back and forth. And that's what something FIFA does, but FIFA is also not great either, in the way that, pretty much all the responses are, if unless you're a complete dumbass, you're not going to upset the team morale or the board. So those questions are really easy to answer. Just answer the typical cliche managerial answer, and you'll be safe. But yeah, it's really disappointing, the cutscenes and everything like that. But one of the things they did fix this year was the transfers. I feel like the transfers are realistic, and the transfer fees are really realistic. Sometimes the price drops a bit too much when they get old, but on the whole, I think it was pretty good. So once you've chosen your club in a Master League, you're given a select few managers, some obviously real life ex-players and managers in here. So Johan Cruyff, Diego Maradona, Zico, Romario, Bebeto, Roberto Carlos, Lothar Matthäus, Ruud Gullit, and so on and so forth. And then we got some fake people as well, I believe. So you don't get the sort of personal feel to the manager like you had in previous series, and I think they should allow you to create your own manager. I assume they had to limit it because of the cutscenes, but I don't think that should be should have an impact. But it clearly did, and you can choose what they wear. You can change their name and nationality. And then this is one part I did actually like about the Master League this year, is you can set the transfer frequency. So if you did find that clubs were selling off their players too quickly, you could just set it to low. Or if you want lots of changes, you could set it to high. So giving you a lot of depth with the transfer frequency there. And negotiation difficulty, I really like this as well. So you can make it really hard or really easy, depending on, and you can change that club to club at the start of every season, I believe. Starting budget, so you can start if you want. If you're Man City, you could say, well, I'm just going to have unlimited funds pretty much, so you can set a large transfer budget. Or if you're like a small club, you could set it really small, but it does scale. So if you're Wolves and you have a normal starting budget, I think you end up with about 15 million. But if you're a normal starting budget with Manchester United, for example, it's more like 50 million. So it does scale depending on the club you choose. Then first transfer windows, or first window transfers. So you can disable or enable that. Salary display, annual. Then you have your difficulty, your match time. You can also set the your currency unit to any of the following, and then stops during the transfer window. So I really like that you're given that flexibility to set up the Master League how you sort of want it. And here we go, just cutscenes for cutscene's sake. I'm just going to skip through this just to show you that it really doesn't matter what you choose in terms of setting your objectives. We can finish top half of the league. Finish top half of the league, specifically the 8th position or higher. Wow. We're going to need to focus our efforts on strengthening the squad this season. So not only is he saying that we're going to finish 8th or higher, we're actually going to need to spend some money to achieve that objective. Seems a rather modest objective, but I suppose you have your reasons. Let's aim for that then. It's like, what? Manchester United? Come on. Like I said, there should be some board affinity. That should be like out the window right now. You should be down to like 50%. if it started really high after they interviewed you and everything, they thought you gave a really good impression of yourself. Maybe 75-80%, but then as soon as you do that, you drop down to like 50% affinity. But again, there's no tells and nothing to this. Your league title chances. It doesn't matter what you say, and half this text, it does vary from time to time, but half this text like flicks off the screen too quickly. Sometimes it stays there too long, and you're just like pondering whether you got to press a button or something to jump to the next bit of text. So, and this just bugs me. They always ask this every single season. What style of football do you want to play, no matter which club you're at? And it doesn't make any impact. You know what should happen here is like I want to see the boys play hard. Okay, that I don't know, gives everyone +3 aggression or something, or a boost to a certain stat. I want to put on a show. Maybe their technique increases or something. I want to play see clean sportsman-like football. So perhaps their balance increases where they're not diving all over the place. You know, I don't know. Just it's just a bit daft and not very good overall. But let's dive into the negotiations just so you can see, you know, all the players and their prices. So if we start with the top, so here we go. Market value, 81 million for Ronaldo. That's about right. 135 for Messi. Maybe on the little cheap side, but if you look at his release fee, because Barcelona aren't going to let him go for 135 million, his release fee is 337 million, which is probably a little bit high, but that's probably about right. I know a lot of people complained about the release fees for having all the, you know, all the players on release fees, or a lot of them. There's some players that don't, like Aubameyang here, but a lot do. Now I know in Spain that every player has to have a release fee, so I can probably see where they're getting at with that, but it should be league specific. So yeah, look at the market value, 60 million for Aguero. Maybe it's a little bit cheap, but he's 31. Like I said, with the age, they will their price does drop quite considerably. Harry Kane, 135 million. Yeah, I can. You know, you're saying Harry Kane's is worth as much as Messi. I don't know, but obviously he's a lot younger. He's only 26. He's got plenty of improvement, whereas Messi's 32. So 31 seems a bit cheap for PK, but I think generally overall, like Mbappe, 180 million. You know, they get about right. There are some odd ones where, you know, Neuer, you know, 16 million. And like I said, that age, as soon as they get that sort of 31, 32, 33, their price dramatically drops. So I would say if you're starting at like a low club, look for some old players, and you'll find some real stars like Robin and a few other players, Iniesta, that are quite cheap and have really good stats. So that's the negotiation side of things. Everything else is pretty much the same as previous years. The scouting, the listed players, the youth team, even the youth players are the bloody same as previous years. I'm just trying to think of what's changed. Diving into the training, one thing I did like about this, obviously we have the styles that we've had before: anchorman, goal poacher, prolific winger, and this builds into their play style and how they're actually going to play for you. But one thing I did like was the focus training. Allows you to put points into certain aspects. So you can put 5 points, whether you want it all in one specific area. You know, maybe you just want to boost the speed of one of your strikers, and so on and so forth. So I really like that. Now, one of the things I really like about this game, it's not new to PES, but I just like the amount of data you can collect, like based on players and their form and how many goals, assists, yellow cards, red cards, their sort of performances in certain leagues. You can look at your sort of overall team of how you're playing. Look at all these stats here. You know, you can really pick out players that you think, well, are they doing well for me? You can come in here and have a look at all these stats and go, you know, Fred is actually one of my most successful passers of the ball. So he's actually not doing too bad, whereas Pogba, you know, he's down to 80%. So you think Pogba's going to be up there. But then you look at the dribbling, Pogba's at the top and Fred's second. But again, Fred has been exceptional. So it's... and, you know, times scored. I just love all this data. It's really, really good to dive into and take a look at. And you get player stats as well for the season. There's just so much information you can just dig out here. The manager's office, so the messages are new. bit of a hit and miss with this one for me, to be honest. You know, there's a lot of things I like and there's a lot of things I dislike. You know, this, for example, the main schedule for August, you know, it says International Champions Cup, match day 1, match day 2. But who am I playing? What's the point in just telling me I'm playing in the International Champions Cup? Let me know who I'm playing on those match days. FA Community Shield, you know, it's not, you know, it'd be nice to have a little bit more detail there if you're gonna give me that information. Otherwise, I just end up skipping it. So yeah, you have all your messages here, and I kind of like that, but I think it could be a little less clunky. It feels like, I don't know, you could have more messages. The writing, the font's a bit too big. Needs to be a bit more 2019, 2020. It's it just feels like, I don't know, 2004, 2005. This sort of setup. Management career is the same. Budget settings is much the same. Favorite players. Now you can actually add more than one. So you can actually add, I think, 28 players. Is it? Or is it 11? 11 players. So I'm not sure, you know, why you do that. But before, in the past, it just used to be the one player that you could set. So again, the database, it's all much the same as before. You know, you get your club rankings, your national team rankings, individual titles of the players if you want to see that, the team awards, transfer market news. Now, one of the things I would like to see is like looking at rivals. Now, it does pop up, but what I would like is, you know, you sort of scroll down here and you get like a full transfer for Scott Carson going from Manchester City to West Ham or something, or you know, maybe some of the bigger transfers that are happening. You know, there should be like a little feed on here. You do get them on this little feed here sometimes. So negotiations over Harry Kane broke down. Atletico sign Icardi, but maybe just something scrolling down the bottom, a bit like Sky Sports, where it says breaking news and someone's been signed from some club. That's what I would like to see, not just in this little box here where you've only got like four different things, because obviously there's plenty of transfers going on, and you know, the objectives you get aren't as good as on, say, something like FIFA, which I'm going to be doing a direct comparison. So I'm going to be doing a comparison between Pro Evolution Soccer 2020 and FIFA 20, and you're going to be able to see some of the gaps, maybe if you're a FIFA player or you're a PES player, and you can sort of see some of the things you could be missing out on. Anyway, that is all from me, ladies and gents. If I was to give this a scoring, I would say it's a 4 out of 10 for me. It's cutscenes for cutscene's sake, and there's no repercussion of whatever you choose in terms of any of the answers you give. Some of the questions don't even make sense to the answers being provided, and you know, that's the sort of thing you get with Konami. I think it's just a bit of a translation breakdown, possibly. So yeah, a 4 out of 10 for me, ladies and gents. Let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in my next video. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.